Okay, welcome to Back to Life, episode 11. Wait, no. Is it 11?
12.
12? What? I don't even know how to count. Okay, well, whatever. We're on the best episode ever.
Oh,
Yet to be. So, anyway, welcome back, Stephanie Murray, my host of Back to Life. So today, right now, we are going to talk with Stephanie about her journey with Christ, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit about how she came to Christ, and we're just going to go from there.
all right.
Your
Sounds
turn.
good.
I took a turn last time. Now
It's
it's
like,
now it's your
that's you.
turn. Now it's your turn.
Yeah, so, man, there's so much. So, I would say my parents came to Christ in the 80s and they met through a friend group. And that's important because they both, in different ways, my mom really and truly, she knew that she wanted to change in her life after her grandmother passed away. And my dad, it was his friend came to God, and then he saw them changing and saw like a Bible study chart at their at their house, and it piqued his curiosity. And so they met through friend groups at church once they came to Christ. And they got married uh probably within a couple, maybe 3 years of that. And they were young. My dad, I believe, was 28, and my mom was like 23, something around there. So pretty young. And I was born I or I yeah, I was born within the first year of their marriage. And so they had me, four other brothers, and they raised us in church. And so we went to church twice on Sundays, once on Wednesdays, had Bible studies.
Goodness. Woo!
Yeah.
Bored. I'd be bored. As a kid, when you go to church that much, you're like, again?
Yeah. I mean, that was our life. We were there. We were sleeping on, I say, we were sleeping on
You
the
live
pews,
and live
rolling,
and breathing it.
yeah, rolling under the pews. We were
That's
there.
funny.
We were in
Living
there.
and breathing.
Yeah. So we were in there. We would do Bible studies at home. My mom taught us the Ten Commandments. She taught us scriptures. Um, there was just a lot of that going on. We mostly saw my dad, though, at church, and he worked nights, so that was really difficult uh, for my mom. Like, looking back, it was really hard because we were so little, and we're pretty close in age,
Yeah.
because it's me, then my other brother Jonathan came like 2 years later.
You like stir
Yeah,
steps. Yeah.
exactly. Andrew like a year later, then Matthew a couple of
Yeah.
years later, then Josiah. So it was a lot. And so what started happening, and this is important because what started happening with my parents is when, like you said, when you guys got married, then the truth comes out. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
And so the same thing happened with my parents, and they had so many different challenges and struggles that came up. And some of that was like you experienced too with postpartum depression after your second baby. My mom experienced that as well. And so that was really difficult, and I was really young. And so what's interesting is seeing, like, you're going to church and you're having this reality at church, and then you're having this other reality at home.
Oh, yeah.
And as a child, just kind of looking like,
Can be confusing.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, what's is God, like, we're hearing about how great God is, how good God is, what he can do, and am I seeing that, on the day to day?
Yeah.
And so some ways I could see God in the day to day, when my mom, because my mom had different bouts of depression, and by God's grace, she didn't stay on like all these medications or stay unwell, forever. She had these different bouts, and they were very intense and very hard to go through and see and witness. And by God's grace, she would come out of these things. So I could see God, in
Yeah.
that. And there's other things, like as far as our finances or sometimes our relationships with my dad, that I didn't see God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't see him clearly.
Right.
And so there was a lot of that, and like we talked about on the first episode we did together, a big part that really messed up my identity was abuse.
Yeah.
Was sexual abuse.
Right.
And that, I would say, was the seed of my self-hatred, was being abused and then abusing others. Like it really, really
Yeah.
messed me up. So even in seeing God, I didn't see myself right. I didn't see myself as
Right.
forgiven.
Well, and we talked about part of it too.
Hmm.
You and I talked about off air was that you took responsibility for how your parents were going to take what
Yes.
happened. Like
Hmm.
you took on how they would feel about it. So you took on that on as a little kid by yourself.
Hmm.
So that's it's a lonely place to be in,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
when you're worried about your parents, how they're going to take something,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of, for being so young, I was pretty, I think that's a gift like that we both have is being
Mm,
empathetic.
yeah.
Yeah, and when you're little.
And then taking it on, yeah, like it wasn't yours to take on, right?
Exactly. Mm.
So yeah, it could be that it's a lonely place to be in.
Yeah,
It really is.
yeah, it really was. It honestly was. And to have that awareness and not have language for it, or you're not
Right.
mature yet, you're a
Yeah, you don't
kid.
know.
Yeah, you're like
Yeah,
no
you're just
idea.
doing everything you need to be
Yeah,
doing.
exactly.
Just be quiet, don't make waves. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a lot of that. And so, and then being the oldest,
Hmm.
we like I felt that responsibility
Hmm.
to make sure I was doing the right things. My brothers would do the right things, so we'd all be doing the right thing.
Yeah, usually the oldest is the rescuer.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah,
usually the oldest takes on that rescue. I gotta take care of everybody else.
man. I had that deep.
Yeah,
I had that deep.
most firstborns do.
Yeah, I had
Yeah,
that very, very
you're not
deep.
the only one.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
I'm like, these six kids are mine.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was taking care of my sister when she was 8. You know,
Yeah.
was or not when she was 8.
You
I
were
was
8,
8, and
right?
she was a newborn, and I'm taking
My
care of
God.
it. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, just a lot of
Yeah.
responsibility for a
Mhm.
young age.
Right.
And I do think that happens with abuse. You know, a lot of the
Mm.
abuse too is like you just take it all on. Like,
Mhm. Right. Yeah. It was because yeah, I did. How do you explain it? I definitely did take on that how my parents felt and how it impacted them
hmm
for sure. So,
but you were watching like you because when you were sharing about
mhm.
how like you were watching their body
Their
language,
body, yes.
and that's really profound that you were
Mhm.
that intuitive, where you
Yes.
were that aware of what was going on, that you were
Mhm.
watching their body language.
Yeah, I did. And I'm glad you said that because there's some very vivid memories I have and
Hmm.
that's the stuff I remember is people's bodies
Yeah,
in
it's insane. It's a little crazy to me because like usually
mhm.
kids are oblivious to that kind of thing.
And I
So that's a
remember,
gift.
oh
That's I
yeah.
mean it's a gift and not a gift,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. If you I love this one of the counselors I had she and her husband counseled us did grief counseling with us and they said children are incredible observers and horrible interpreters.
Oh yeah,
And I was like, hmm.
really,
Yeah, it's like there you go. So I
really
would say
do.
that's very true.
Yeah, that's
Very,
good.
very true. Like, because you just don't know yet.
Yeah,
You just don't
you
know.
have no
Yeah.
idea. You're just making up stories.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And you're so good at it
And
then.
normally they're about you.
Yes, yeah, and they're no.
When it might not have anything to do with you.
Yes, and
Yeah,
that's exactly what I did. I made up all these stories about myself, and like you, same thing with
same
you.
thing.
Shame, so
Oh,
much shame. Like
a lot of
I
shame.
am what I did,
Okay.
not
Yeah.
I made a mistake and I'm forgiven and I'm still loved and I can choose to never,
And
do this again.
it's actually interesting because it's like I don't know. There's a part of me that's like that wasn't even your responsibility either, in a lot of
Mm,
sense. Like for you to take responsibility for it is not even that shouldn't even be an option.
mm,
You know, like I
mm-hmm.
don't know, just something about that is like, well, wait a minute, like you were so young, like you didn't know what was going on.
Right. For
So
real. Right. And once again, all these
yeah,
wrong
so
stories and wrong interpretations
yeah,
and just
it's almost like taking you and putting you as an adult. So you take responsibility, and
exactly
then you can come back and be that age again.
right.
But that's not. It's yeah.
Yeah,
A lot about it. There's a lot about it that is twisted, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that happens to a lot of abuse victims.
Oh man. And when that stuff gets in so young, like you're just so open, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're just so believing. You don't
Right.
have a bunch of
Well, and it's confusing when
Mhm.
you have the pleasure pain, like it's like the pleasure
Mhm.
and then not, and it's like,
Yes.
well, it
What is
feels
this?
good, so is this okay? Like
Yeah.
I'm confused. Like, is
Yeah.
it not okay? Is it like,
Mhm.
yeah?
Yeah, it was so much and so young. So I see the enemy, I really believe that that's one of the main things is against your identity. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Because
big time.
once you know,
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
there's no going back.
Yeah, then you'll be all in. And I think that's a huge part of it is to mess up that because it's the first thing that you get,
Well, right, because like
receive, I should say.
yeah, like I said, like when I was in my 20s, it was like 90% in the world, and then the
Mhm.
rest was, oh, church. Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Oh, I better be on my best behavior.
Right.
Don't tell them that I slept with my boyfriend.
Mm. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I hope they can't tell.
Yeah, yeah,
I used to do
that
that. I
shame.
used to do that all the time. I hope they can't
Imagine.
tell.
Yeah, imagine, because that's exactly how it felt. In going to church 3 to 4 times a week, and feeling that
Oh
type
yeah.
of shame and stuff
Oh,
like
totally.
that.
It's actually almost worse.
Mm,
So like it actually almost feels worse, and I think that's that like for me getting to that point
mm.
of like, well, I don't want to even go anymore. I don't
That's
like the way that
that's where
feels.
I got in my because it was performance based. I got there probably in my early 20s.
Yeah.
I There was one day, so this was really deep. One day I went, and at that time I had both my kids, and I literally just looked around the building. I looked at the people. It's like I was taking it all in because I was never coming back. Like I had made up
Um,
my mind. Like
yeah.
I'm never coming back here. So I'm going to like remember
Yeah.
everything about it. Like I'm going to remember the people, I'm going to remember the sanctuary, I'm going to remember like the feelings, like I'm going to remember everything I can because I'm never coming back.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there in the pew like just taking it all in, looking at everything. And this woman, Sister Janice, comes up to me and she is bawling. And this woman does not cry. Like
Yeah.
she's not a crier. Like
Like me and you.
right. You're not just like, oh, she cries all the time. No,
No.
it's not a thing. So she is weeping. And she's not just like, she's like,
Yeah.
weeping. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. She's like, maybe if you never come back ever again, you'll be okay. Maybe. And she's like, what about your kids though?
Oh.
And
Yeah.
she like, no, this is all happening with me by myself
Right.
internally. I didn't go telling people this is my last time coming to church.
Nobody
Last
knows.
Nobody knew but God.
Yeah.
And he told Sister Janice. Yeah. And I was
Oh.
like, oh, will my kids be okay?
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So when you talk about like God pursuing you, because
Totally.
so growing up and having these shameful things, like as far as um attraction and puberty and abuse and um like problems in our family dynamic, like with my dad and my brothers, having seen that resentment and that sadness and the anger and the insecurities, of
Yeah.
I have a dad, however I don't have enough interaction with him, you know what I'm saying?
Was he just gone a lot?
Yes,
Yeah.
working a
Okay.
lot,
Okay.
working, yes. And then seeing my mom, struggling at different times with depression and all these different things, and then like growing up, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
this is all happening, you're all growing and you're all learning, you're all getting older. And you're like, so that was the mind state I was in. And my thing, honestly, when I started dating was wanting that acceptance,
Right.
wanting someone to tell me, "Oh, you did something wrong, Stephanie. You're not you're not wrong though," or "You did something that was bad. However, you're not bad." And
Yeah.
that was something that I needed when I was 4. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And so I carried that. And kept when I wrote in my book, I said I was looking for God in men.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did
I
the
was
same
like,
thing.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was looking for God in men. Like, you can know every single thing about me, and you will still love me, accept me,
Right.
acknowledge
Right.
me, embrace me,
Right. You're
forgive
looking for
me.
the unconditional love.
Exactly, in men, and it did not work.
No, it doesn't.
And I did it. I mean, I did that from, I would say middle school is, yeah, middle school. I had my first boyfriend. Middle school, high school, and I meet my kids' fathers. So I had a high school sweetheart, and I had my son with him. And the day I found out I was pregnant with him, he told me he had another girlfriend.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just like devastating.
That's
Yeah, it was
devastating.
devastating. Very very hurtful situations. Couple years later, I think, "Oh, I know what to look for now." You know what I'm saying? I'm
Oh,
21.
you wise
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
You wise one.
Yeah, I
At
just
21.
yeah, I know what to look
Of
for. I
course.
know who will
Yeah.
lie to me, who won't lie to me, blah blah blah. I meet somebody worse than
Oh
the
yeah,
first,
that's usually what happens.
yeah, and so then, I mean,
We don't
on a
we
whole
don't go up.
different
We go
level.
down.
Yeah, whole different level. Oh my God. And yeah, so that was the absolute worst. And I had my daughter was the best thing. The best thing. And after that relationship completely broke me is when I came and I gave up. I like actually surrendered. I was
Mhm.
like, what? I'm saying I'm searching for love. This love? Because if this love, I don't actually want it, and I don't know why everybody in the world wants this. Because it doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
it doesn't.
Yeah, and I gave up. I was like, I don't know anything. I need to learn everything. I need to actually know what
It's
love
actually a
is.
place to be.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, because
Yeah.
that's where I've been since I was 25, and I'm gonna be 37 this year.
Yeah.
So he's been working on me. What is actually love? What are you searching for?
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you
You're searching
desire?
for your lovable. And you
Yes,
already are lovable.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's what introduced me to Jesus, is coming to the end of myself, where I stopped looking
Right.
for it in
You
men.
just gave up. Like
Yeah,
you
I
like
gave up.
and it's actually like a good giving up. Like
Yes, a
not a bad,
surrender.
not a
Yeah,
yeah, not a bad
yeah,
not a bad
yes,
giving up,
yeah.
but a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
really did. I surrendered. I was like, I don't know anything. I told God one time, so I had broken up with um, my fiance at the time. I broke up with him. I was driving on the highway. I drove a lot during that time, because I worked and lived in Denver, and my kids were being taken care of by my cousin in Aurora.
Oh geez,
And
yeah.
I mean, I
That's a
was in the car.
commute.
Oh yeah, I was in the car hours a day,
Yeah.
hours.
Been there.
Yeah, it single mom.
Yep,
Yeah,
single
ain't
mom.
no
Yeah.
joke.
I drive from the academy
Hmm.
to Arvada
Oh my
almost every
God.
day because I was up
You
put
mean
on
in Colorado Springs?
I was put on
No
orders. I
way.
was put on orders at the academy. My kids were really
Wow.
little, and so I drive back and forth for 6 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I could not imagine.
yeah. I don't know how I did it either.
That's what I'm
Some of the
saying.
stuff I did, I'm like, wow,
You, because when
superwoman.
you're, I was gonna say, when you're, you don't think of, you literally
You just
cannot
do.
think about it.
You
You
just
just,
do it.
yeah,
Yeah, you just
you
got to
have
do
to.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
had to
that's
make it
really.
work.
Hmm.
And when I went back to school, so like yeah, I don't even know.
I did the same
I
thing.
don't even know how.
Hmm. Yeah, I did the same thing. I was working full time, in
Yeah,
school full time, had both my
yeah,
kids, in an abusive relationship. How in the world?
yeah,
Only the grace of God.
yeah, exactly,
Only it doesn't
exactly.
even like it legit makes no
It
sense.
doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah,
You have superpowers.
yeah. God is good. He's just so good. So yeah, that I was driving one of those drives, and I said, "You said the truth sets you free." I'm like, I learned the truth, and I do not feel free. Like, I feel
Oh,
broken. I feel
yeah.
hurt. I feel disgusted. Like,
Well, you weren't quite yet in your truth.
God told me, he said, um, your ex is a representation of how you feel about yourself.
Ooh, yeah. makes sense.
Yeah, that thing hit me in the
It makes
heart.
sense
Yeah.
because when like if like think about it, if you felt lovable, you would attract someone that would love
Mm-hmm.
you.
That.
So again, the
Mm-hmm.
world has it still has it backwards where it's
Yes.
yeah, we got to do a women's retreat. That's just all there
Oh.
is to
Oh,
it. Yeah.
it's already done.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's all about the lovable because again, I was talking with a friend and she's like, "Oh, there's this guy coming on. I can't wait to meet him." And
Mm-hmm.
blah 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 and drops all her plans
Mm.
to meet this guy and then
Wow.
has never met him in person.
Mm-hmm.
It's an online thing and then they meet and then she's like, eh.
Oh.
And then it
Yeah.
doesn't work out and like it's like again,
Mm.
it's looking for that person to fulfill something in you
Yeah.
that is never going to work.
Mm-mm.
It's never going to work.
No.
And the only one that can fill the love deficit is the Lord,
Yeah.
right?
Because he is. It's his essence.
And
It's who he
yeah,
is.
right, right.
Yeah.
And it's I think yeah, we're gonna do a retreat. That's
Yeah.
all there is to it.
For sure. Like
Cause
I'm like that's my that became like once I went on that journey to find out who, what, and what is love, I've been obsessed with it. Like I'm not able to let it go. Like
yeah, that's awesome.
and it's God. Like that's what I'm just like I'm searching how just to I feel like his unconditional love towards me, his forgiveness of me, his acceptance of me, his how he cares for me, the way he's revealed things to me,
Mhm.
provided for me, just to see him like as he actually
Mhm.
is, that transformed my life. And
Yeah,
I want everybody to
yeah,
experience that, the
yeah,
unconditional love of God, because that transformed my life.
yeah.
And that's like you were saying, that's what gave me my identity of being loved,
Right,
and gave me the power and the desire to love him back
right.
by by obeying, by listening, by being
Trusting.
guided, trusting, yeah,
Yeah,
being like where he can say, let's go this way, let's go that way, let's connect with
right.
this person, let's go, where I trust him.
Yeah,
It's just such a different it's just such a different way than when I was growing up. It felt like a lot of rules and regulations, and
that's how I
felt,
felt. I felt
yeah,
a lot like that as
and
well.
it didn't feel like a
It
relationship.
felt strict and like yeah, I'm gonna do
Yes,
something wrong. Yeah,
yes,
I always
yes.
felt that way too.
It just it's not sustainable.
And
Like
it's
you
up
can
here.
That's
It's
exactly
more
right.
cognitive,
It's exactly right because you know the Ten Commandments.
right?
However, you don't feel them. Do you know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
Church doesn't like. I think church doesn't help a lot of that, or at least it
mm,
didn't help me with a lot of that. Where
right.
it was just more like you gotta obey. You just gotta obey,
Yeah.
and you just gotta praise Jesus, and
Mm-hmm.
like, well, I just don't. I feel like I'm missing something. You know.
Yes. And you are, and
Yeah.
everybody is. That feels like it's a
Well.
like you got to impress God, and instead of
Yeah.
knowing he's he made you in his image. You're
Yeah.
already like he's already good with you. Do you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. I think. I think part of it too, at least
Mhm.
now and now times.
Mhm.
Back then it was a little bit different, but like I think in now times, I think that there's so much external in the way that the
Mhm.
person is having a hard time getting to the identity
Mhm.
or getting to understand what their identity even is
Yes.
because you have so much external blocking that, like
Yes.
even to the point where like soul ties,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
I believe that like
Mm.
whoever you sleep with, you're tying your soul to them
Mhm.
physically.
Mhm.
And so, like there's got to be a way to tap into that to break to break those bonds that have been
Yes.
formed.
Yes.
And so, like there's got to be there's a like a release that happens when you start to really actually
Mhm.
cognitively think of, okay, I was with this person, how do I break this tie, like
Mhm.
help, having God help break that soul tie to the
Yes.
person,
Mhm.
because again there's so much blocking the
Mhm.
identity.
Mhm.
You're not going to see the identity if you're still out 80% in the world living
That
all that stuff.
yeah, because that's another thing I talk about in my book is that I became whoever they said I was.
Ooh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you take that like I felt like I just sucked that stuff in. I just received that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
because I didn't I didn't, or it wasn't already sure for me. It wasn't already established for me, so other people could establish it
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
wasn't already
yeah. That
between me and
was
God.
the
You know
same
what I'm
for
saying?
me.
So then anybody could come in and say, "Oh, you're this," and I, and "Oh, you're that,"
Yep.
and
You
you would
are.
just
Yeah,
you would
yeah.
affect
That's a
my
really good.
emotions in like a crazy way.
Yeah,
It
that's a
was
really
horrible.
good point. Like I think a
Mhm.
lot of people experience that. I know I
Mhm.
have
Oh yeah.
for sure. I don't know which way to go. It's like
Mhm.
tell me to go that way. Okay, I'll go that way then.
Right. It was
So yeah. So then
oh
again, that's
so volatile.
how the world gets in too.
Mhm.
Is like, well, you can just go to church on Sundays and do whatever you want the
Right.
rest of the time, as long as
Right.
you're good, as long as you repent, you're
Mhm.
fine. You know, like that kind of
Yes.
that type of thing. That's what
Yeah.
I would listen to.
Mhm.
I would listen to everybody else but God.
Mhm.
Like, tell me what to do about God. Like, this
Mhm.
is, this is how you live.
Wow.
This is how you live your life.
Mhm.
And then it's like, you know, and then and then going to the church and like seeing all the things that were not real, like
Hypocrisy, yeah.
hypocrisy. Like, I
Mhm.
remember this really nice couple, like
Mhm.
Christians, couple boys, just this picture perfect couple,
Mhm.
and I go over to their house one day and they're just fighting, like screaming
Oh.
cats and dogs, and like
Mhm.
they hate each other.
Oh
But at
no.
church they don't.
Wow.
At
Wow.
church they don't hate each other. So I would see stuff like that and be
Yeah.
like,
What
what is
is
it to
this?
believe in? Why am I believing in this
Yeah.
stuff? Like,
Yeah.
is it even real? Like, is it really a God? Because it
Right.
doesn't seem like it right now.
Mhm.
So that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it was
It
so
influences
much.
when you
It
don't know.
was. Yeah. Yeah, that is so true. And it's important. I remember telling this young lady, I said, at the end of the day, it's gonna be you and God. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna at the end, like at judgment seat, whatever, it's gonna be you and God. And it's not and that has to be solid.
Oh, totally.
Because
Yeah.
because everybody else and everything else is movable. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
He's the firm foundation though.
And it's all that external stuff that gets in
Yes.
it's not eternal. It's external.
I love that. That is so, so good because it reminds me of that parable. If you build your house on the sand,
Yeah.
when the storm comes, it's gonna be gone. If you build it on the rock, it'll stand through
Yeah.
whatever storm comes. And
Right.
I think that that's the biggest thing is, what are you building on?
Yeah,
What
exactly.
you know what I'm saying? What's
Exactly.
your identity and what is your
Yeah.
purpose in? What is your affections
Yeah.
towards? What
Yeah,
everything.
like mine was my mirror. Like I wanted him to be the one that told me who I was or told me
Mhm.
what I needed to do and how could we be a Christian family and
Yes.
live this Christian life. I thought
Um,
that what was going to make me happy. But it was
right,
all external.
right.
It was all external.
See, and that's the same thing when I was growing up in the denomination I was in. It was all, it wasn't about transformation of the heart. It was about appearance. It was
Mm.
about
Oh,
performance. It
totally.
was about those things. And that's, I was not able to do that
Yeah.
after time, like after you're literally grinding it out.
Yeah.
You're it says in the Bible, it talks about your own works. You
Oh,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
You're attempting to do
Well,
instead of being.
you're in control. You're the one
Yes.
to be in control.
And instead of having that humility, like, God, okay, your word says this. I feel and think this, which is the opposite of your word. Will you help me?
Yeah.
Will you help me understand,
Yeah.
why do you see that
Yeah,
like that?
yeah.
Why do you tell me that? Why should I believe that? Like, having that real relationship where you're asking him and you're allowing him to show you and reveal it to you, and where you actually are able to do it through his strength
Yeah.
and not, because I attempted to do the right things in my own strength and
Yeah,
I did everything wrong.
that's the difference between me and him now. Me
Yes.
and him now is more about, okay, I have no idea what to do.
Yeah,
Can you
yes.
please help me because
Yes.
I don't know what to do,
So much
and
better.
I kind of want to do this, but I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't think that's right. So
Mhm.
help me, please. So
Yeah.
I again, and I said this earlier, trusting him feels like love
Yes.
because again, I feel more secure in myself than I ever have in my whole entire life. And
Man.
I don't know, I'm 53. We'll say, we'll just go with it. I think it's 52, 53, one of those. And I feel more secure and loved and nurtured than I ever have in my
Mm-hmm.
life and I ever have from a man.
Right.
Ever. Like,
Right.
it's a true story.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I talk to God. I'm like, well, is love ever gonna, is that
Mm-hmm.
love gonna be in my life? Or,
Mm-hmm.
I already have this love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have this love. And it's like, just go with that. You
Mm-hmm.
just go with that and you see what happens.
Right.
And let it be more of an adventure than like a pursuit because the
Yes.
pursuit is exhausting.
Ooh, I like
It's
that. An
like I do
adventure to
not want to
pursue.
run after you. Like, dude,
Mm-hmm.
this is exhausting. Like, there is no there. You know, there's just so many things um, that I did before where it was like, no, this is exhausting. It's
Mm-hmm.
exhausting to try to, go online and
Right.
like you don't like don't go online.
I
I'm
think
so
that's the second time
I'm
you said
maybe
that.
against it. I said it a bunch of times. Yeah, I didn't have. I'll have to share some funny dating stories.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That's a whole
We're
podcast.
gonna do it.
Yeah, that's a
That
whole.
would be so much fun.
We'll do that. We'll do that. Episode 13. Episode.
What not to do?
What not to do. What not to do on online dating.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's
Mm.
a lot of craziness, and then they're like, oh, there's a new one out, a new online one. Well, how is it any different than any of the other ones? Anyway,
Yeah. So that was I gave up in a good way is what you said. I
yeah,
surrendered and I started on the journey and something that you talked about was soul ties and stuff like that. That stuff is real. And for me, really what God led me to do when I came back to him at 25 was one of the things truly is having a consistent prayer life, like
oh yeah,
and then reading the word consistently, like every
yeah,
day,
yeah,
having that relationship, because it's like, what kind of relationship will you have with anybody if you're not consistent in communicating
yeah,
with them?
yeah.
Especially an intimate relationship. Like when I look at God now, I see him as my father. I see him as my friend. And then I also see myself as a part of his bride. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And so when you think
totally.
about a husband and wife, you're gonna talk every day.
Yeah, it
You're
feels that
in
way to me
intimacy.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so so reading my word every day, praying every day, and then fasting regularly. Like that was a
hmm
huge part of my transformation is fasting, like you saying, even you when you're talking about separating from social media, you know what I'm saying?
I fasted from it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just getting out of that all
Well,
those voices and
it
all that
quieted
stuff.
my. I need to just be quiet. Like
Yes,
there's so much noise.
yes, and so it's all that stuff. So I would say fasting really did help me to break free. And matter of fact, I want to share this story. um, when I left my ex, I was listening to preaching, and he said, "There's some things that you personally do that hinders your it hinders your life, things you
hmm
personally do,
Right.
and then there's other things that you're attracted to that keep coming back into your life through other people."
Right.
And so I wrote down things that I personally did and then things that I kept attracting, and I wrote them down, and I fasted and studied those things
Oh,
for
that's smart.
I just did that day after day. And then at the end of it, I went to it's now my pastor's house. I went there with my mom, and then two of, like, I call them my older sisters in Christ, and Sister J, Sister Dawn, my mom, my cousin, and we were all there, and they prayed for me that God would show, like, the root of every single, like, all the things in my life that were going on, like, what's the root of this? What is
Really good
this?
prayer.
Yeah, and so when they began to pray for me that I would be delivered, God showed Sister J that the root of it was low self-esteem.
hmm
And
Yeah.
so the root of that, so if you could imagine this, the root of it is low self-esteem, and so that goes into a tree, and all the fruit of it um me be fornicating or being
Well,
in.
it was more evidence to show that you weren't worth it.
Yes, it was all of that. I mean, it was lust, it
Yeah.
was fear, it was promiscuity, it was
Yeah.
what abuse, it was all this different
Yeah.
fruit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like you said,
I love the
evidence.
tree. I love the
Right.
tree metaphor.
Yeah. And so the root of it though was low self-esteem, and it grew into all these different bad fruit in my life that I didn't want there anymore. And so they prayed for me that I would be delivered from low self-esteem. And I can tell you, like, there is such a I'm I'm like literally not even the same person that I
Yeah.
was before I was that was uprooted from my heart. And it just everything got better in my
Yeah.
whole life. And it wasn't I this is a lifestyle now. It's not me performing.
Right. Right.
It's not me trying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I am becoming,
You're,
I am evolving, I am
mm,
transforming.
mm-hmm.
However, God is like leading me and guiding me in the
Mm-hmm.
work. I'm not working myself to
Right.
impress him, to for him to love me, for him to forgive me, for him to
Well, you're recognizing who you are.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just a whole it's completely separate and different than how I grew up.
Right.
And I'm not faulting those people. Those though I believe that they shared the revelation they had.
Right.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I don't feel like it was malicious. I just feel like they shared and they gave what they had.
Right.
And so as God gives us better or different or more full picture, I would say a more full picture,
Mm-hmm.
a more perfect way, then we share and give that,
Right.
and we can keep going forward. So how I raised my kids and how I approach them and how I talk to them and all that is so much different because of what I went through.
Right.
So I'm very grateful
Absolutely.
of how I grew up, because a lot of those people still serve God and they're sincere. And I can see that maybe I didn't get it. However, they did get it because they're
Right.
still standing, you know?
Right.
And you're not going to be able to stand almost 40 years and be faking. You're not. You're
Oh,
not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're not.
That'd be a long time
So,
to fake something.
yeah. So, yeah.
Usually it's brought out into the light. I mean,
Exactly. And I
God usually
see,
reveals all the
oh,
pastors that are falling down.
oh, yeah. Like a
God's like,
billion percent.
there's a spotlight in your life right now.
Yeah, yeah. It is a deep thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the truth will set you free every single time. So,
Well, it
oh,
always comes out
oh
eventually.
yeah.
It
Oh
always
yeah.
comes out.
It
Yeah.
does. Everything, yeah, everything in the dark will come into light. There's even a scripture that says anything that was spoken behind closed doors will be spoken on a rooftop. I was like,
Ooh, that's a powerful one.
yeah, I was
Ooh,
like, whoa, yeah,
hope
be
you made me
careful.
scream that from the rooftop. Say what I said last night. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
that.
don't let that one go.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that's how I came to surrender and begin to accept and receive my identity. And he just keeps working on me. He's so
Yeah,
faithful and so good.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. So I think that's all I would really say about that at this point in time. Um, I'm just really grateful. I would say that too. I'm extremely grateful.
You always say you're grateful.
Yeah,
That's one thing I
yeah.
love about you because you're always grateful,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what. It's like this lady's just grateful to be alive. Like I
Yes.
love her.
Yes.
This was when I had that experience with you on the 90-day because that was the
Yes.
first thing that stood out to me. It was I was
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, this girl's been through some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and she just gets up and says how much she loves her life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I want to be like her.
Wow.
I want what she has, right? Like, and
Yeah.
there's just again that grateful, like really being like. There's one thing, like here's the truth. I went through like some personal development coaching, and they're like, yeah, write down five things you're grateful for. So every day I'm getting out my notebook. I'm grateful
Mm-hmm.
for the air. I'm grateful for this food. I'm grateful to be writing this. I am running out of things to be grateful for. I have no idea what to write anymore. I keep writing the same five things.
Oh man.
And so it was a little bit detached, and it was more from a
Mm.
cognitive place than
So
it
yeah.
was from really from a heart place of
Mm-hmm.
like again, like just love. I love the receivership. I love
Mm-hmm.
that gratitude is the first step to receiving. And
Mm-hmm.
I was horrible at receiving because nobody like
Mm-hmm.
I I did it on my own for so long. I didn't think anybody wanted to give to me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, why
Wow.
would you even like I got this. I can move myself. Don't worry. I can move that couch all by myself. I'll just put it on my back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like stuff like that. And now it's so much different where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, wait a minute. Um, receiving is a gift, and giving out is a gift. Being grateful is a gift. So,
Mm-hmm.
man, like standing up and being like, you know what, I love my life. I am grateful for my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, it's not like a false thing to say. You know, I'm grateful for the sunshine today because it was
Mm-hmm.
sunny today. Thank goodness.
Right.
I am very grateful for
Right, because
that.
it's been
It is
overcast for
no
days.
joke. It's like I'm done with the rain.
Yes.
So that's a lot different than coming from a head place. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I want to acknowledge you for that because that was
Thank
something that
you.
really spoke to my heart
Mm-hmm.
whenever we're doing it. I was like, this girl is sincerely grateful. Like she's not faking it because you know you can tell someone, oh, I'm grateful. Like it's
Yeah.
like we would have people stand up and say that what they're grateful for. Oh, I'm grateful for this. Okay, sit down. You're full of crap. I can already tell. You're not. Yeah, you just sit back down.
You're like, no, 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 no.
Yeah, not today. Not today. You're not fooling me today with
Yeah.
that craziness. But yeah, so I love that the giving
Mm-hmm.
and um and I do want to talk about your book a little bit. So I do
Yeah.
want to close, but I do want you to
Oh,
talk about
okay.
your book a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
we've mentioned it a few times, and I just wanted to know number one, where is it?
Okay.
Because I want to read it. So I want to know where it is,
Yes.
where you are at in the process, and then
Uh,
maybe if you can just give us an idea of what it's about
oh, okay.
and what you're hoping to get from like what you're hoping to give
Right.
from it.
Oh, okay. So where it's at is I just paid my last payment on the whole process yesterday.
Okay.
Everything is done. It's going into print, and so they will talk to me next week about how long it will take to actually have them ready.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking within the next 2 months, I'm going to do a book release and do
Not
just
a
a
soft like a
celebration.
soft one. My book launch. Here's my book. Please buy it. That's my book launch.
No, it's not letting me do that.
No, dude,
He literally,
I won't let you do that.
thank
And
you.
when I do my book, you won't let me do
No,
it.
I
You
won't.
do that
I
again.
won't. Yeah, I
Because I
sure
am gonna
won't.
write. I am gonna
Oh,
write one.
good.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
gonna write.
God. Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah,
I'm
let's see.
so excited. I'm
Nerves.
so excited. Yes. Oh my gosh, I
But
got chills.
nerves, bro.
Okay, so
My soft launch will be waiting.
God is putting people in, he's put people all around me. And one of my friends, Brooke, she's really helping me like market it and get it out there. And then God gave me the publisher. So every step of the way, he's told
Nice.
me different things.
I
So
love it.
one thing was I was attempting to write a self-help book. So let's start there. And then
That's totally what I do. It's the
that's,
same thing I
yeah,
do, and it's total resistance.
it literally is.
I've written two self-help books, and they've gone nowhere. Stop them up. And it's because I'm not supposed to be writing those.
Exactly. Exactly. And God stopped me. He straight up was like, no,
He let
I
me
want
write
a
mine.
memoir. He's like, I want a memoir. And I was like,
Yep, yep.
and then I resisted that for a season. And then I said, okay, I surrender. So I started writing that. And then there was really painful parts
Oh
and
yeah.
really things that
That's
really dug
why
deep
there's
in
the
there.
resistance.
That was. And
Yeah.
so I once again would stop. And then I would start again because I'm like, I want the scripture says if you love me, keep my commandments. Like if because of your love for me, will you trust me?
Yeah.
Will you listen to what I'm telling you? Will you let me
Trust
lead you?
me feels like love.
Yes, like will you let me
Yeah.
lead you in this? So I just feel like God was like, are you gonna let me lead you again? And I'm like,
You
okay.
want to do it by
So
yourself?
yeah, so I kept writing, then COVID happened, and that was another thing that came up. oh, I'm just so busy. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, of course you are.
And then
Mhm.
COVID happens, and then I'm still not really writing the book. And he's like, you know, and then I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, it's resistance because it's
totally.
painful, because
Yeah.
it's this or that. I need to have these conversations. I need to ask these people these different questions. And so then I trusted God through that, and I kept writing. And then he told me, I want you to tell our story.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
I'm like, okay.
Of
So then that's
course.
when I was like,
That's a
oh,
significant part of
yeah.
it.
I was like, that's why you want me to do a memoir, because you wanted me to tell our story.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I
I
love
was like,
that.
okay. So it's like this really is like
So
the book
beautiful.
is an expression of my love for God and what He
Oh,
did for me. Yeah.
I
So
love it so
yeah,
much.
he's like, tell our story. So I told our story, and there's so much in there. There's abuse, there's teenage pregnancy, there's college.
All the dirt.
Yeah.
There's all the dirt in it. Don't worry, there's dirt.
It's everything.
It's so
It's all
funny.
the things.
It's dirt.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Oh
There's
my gosh.
drama. Don't worry. Get
There's
out your Kleenex.
yeah, there's so much in there,
'Cause
and
that's life. That's life.
it's a real life story. So it has all of that, and it just shows, like you said, God's pursuit of me, and him like,
He's
this is
he
what you
calls you by
yes,
name.
yes, this is what you've been searching for. You've been
Mhm.
searching for me, and you didn't know it this whole time.
Calls you by name.
Yeah, so it's all of that, and yeah, that's what I want people to get from it, is that unconditional love transforms lives. Jesus transforms people's lives. And when you go all in, when you want to learn that, when you want to receive that, when you are willing, like, your whole life and everybody connected to you's life is completely different.
Oh,
Like,
that's how I feel.
there's just nothing, yeah, there's nothing like it. There's absolutely
Yeah.
just nothing, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, I had this absolutely true. Like I love talking to you because you can relate. I can relate to this so
Mm-hmm.
much. But I have it was like, when getting the brain metastasis, whatever you
Mm-hmm.
call it, um, when the cancer going to the brain, it was like, okay, here we go again. Here's another setback. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what? Jesus is jumping in the shark tank with me. So
Yes.
I don't feel alone in it. I
So good.
don't feel
Mm-hmm.
like I just it's just that's a miracle in itself.
Yeah, it is.
Because if this probably would have been 5 years, I don't think I would have made it. I really don't think I would have
Mm-hmm.
made it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would have just given up. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't even remember where I was 5 years ago. But anyway, I wasn't. I wasn't on the path I am on now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and just the way that I look at cancer and I look at cancer and I look at disease and all of that stuff way differently
Than you did
than I
before.
did before. And like
Mm-hmm.
you were talking about roots.
Yes.
I mean,
Oh
I think
my
there's so many
God.
roots in
Mm.
ties to emotions. I mean, I've had so much healing happen in the past 2 years, like, well, year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It's unreal. It is just unbelievable. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
we're not talking about me on my soft launch, but my book's launch. You can read it if you want to. It's on my
Yeah.
shelf.
Yeah, it's gonna
I'm
it's
excited about your book,
yeah,
though.
it's
I'm like,
called The Coronation of Love: Losing, Seeking, and Finding the Greatest Gift of All. Yes.
that goes right along with a women's retreat, is what it
Yes. It's yeah, it's losing, seeking, and finding. Yes.
is.
So
That's amazing.
it's
I love it.
incredible. I'm really excited, and um
We gotta have a book party.
yes. Yes. It's gonna it how God so God started giving me different, like, how we're gonna do it is really, it's really neat, all the different visions God's given me, and the support. Like, he's literally told me, talk to this person, talk to
Mm-hmm.
that person, talk to
Mm-hmm.
this person, and it's just all coming together. It's gonna be wonderful. It's gonna be I'm just excited about celebrating, um and about people seeing their own selves in the story,
Oh,
people
totally.
receiving
Yeah.
hope, and people getting a revelation of who God is and what He can really do in their lives.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say those are that's why.
That's
That's why.
amazing. I'm excited that
Thank
you're
you.
putting that out in the world.
I'm like, all right. Yeah.
And you're not doing a soft launch.
No,
Not allowed.
I'm not. Even when I did my gratitude dinner. So I did a
I know
gratitude dinner.
about that. That's
Yes.
amazing too.
So when I finished writing my book, I mean the very like one of the very very first
I remember this.
yeah, I did. When I was done, I said, I did not get here on my own. Like, all these people were a part,
Oh, there's a lot of pieces that come
yeah,
together. Yeah.
that a part of God showing his love towards me when I didn't love myself. And like all these different people in my life. So I felt like I wanted to honor them and thank them
Oh,
for
that's so
showing me
sweet.
what love was when I was really searching for it. Like,
That's so sweet.
I just felt it so deeply. I'm like, this person and that person, my parents and my brothers and my aunts and my
There's
cousins.
the gratitude again.
Yes. And I was so grateful that I did a gratitude dinner. And I it was so amazing because my pastor's wife, she's a chef, and they have a catering business. And I asked, and so they were part of my journey too. However, she did cater for me, and she's just amazing, and I just love her so much. So they catered amazing food, and we got a venue. My brothers had a really nice apartment, and they had a clubhouse,
Oh,
and
nice.
so we set up. And then I hired my one of my friends to she's an event planner, so she helped me with all of that, and we set up tables, and
Oh,
I
I
did
love
really
that.
nice invitations and asked everyone to come. And then I did, I think, three snippets from my book, and there's a couple of songs that were sang, and we did a sit down dinner. It was formal, just to thank the people, like, because the love of God through them really did save my life, and really
Wow.
did save my kids' lives. So I
Love
was
it
just
so
so
much.
grateful. Like,
Why are you gonna make me cry when it's time to go?
yeah, it just
That's so
I was
beautiful.
so grateful because when you've been abandoned enough times, when you've been rejected enough times, when you've been betrayed enough times, you appreciate the people that
Oh,
stayed.
totally.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and you appreciate the
It
people that
makes
fought
you,
with you.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, and for
Exactly.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why
so
you feel that deep. That's why
yeah.
you feel so deeply.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think that there is some truth to um, the big setback, right?
Mm,
Having that big setback and that big painful setback
mm,
gets you to this setup where now you feel this more of a joy and a more of a
wow.
hope and a more of a gratitude
Hmm.
than you would have if it was just a tiny one.
Yes.
Like if you would have been like,
Hmm.
yeah, I wrote my book, nobody read it. Me, mine, my books. My family
Oh.
hasn't even read my
Oh
books. No, I'm
no.
just kidding. I don't know if they have or not, but I'm like, have you
Yeah.
guys read my books?
Uh-huh.
Well, we didn't even know you wrote one
Oh
because you didn't
my
tell
God.
us.
It was that much of a soft
Yeah,
launch?
it is that much of a soft launch. They're like, what?
No.
You're a published author?
Oh my God.
What? Like I
No,
tell
we're not
people,
doing that again,
I know,
Shay. That's not a
I
thing. That
know,
is not a
that's
thing.
not a thing.
Oh
Yeah,
my
they're just like, what? You wrote a
God.
book? I tell people, I'll tell people sometimes it'll just come out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what? You didn't tell me. Well, what do you want me to be like? Hey, hi, my name's Shay. I wrote a book. Like, how
Right.
do you do that? You don't.
I mean, I'm so grateful for my friends because they're even telling like okay at my gratitude dinner I had already had the cover of my book
I
my
love
friend's
your
oh my
cover.
gosh my friend's husband took the picture and so I was gonna have an 8 by 10 like there and my friend's like no yeah and she had me print it like as a
Oh
poster
God,
I've never done that I
I
would
never would have done that.
never done
I
that
never
and
would have
she
done that.
told me matter of fact have two different poses full on like
Oh,
you
what?
so I've had
Yeah.
people all around me that will not let me shrink will not let me
Yeah,
like
they're not letting you play the invisible game.
do all that they're like
Yeah, that's me.
no
I've
please
been out my whole life.
I'm
The
excited.
invisible. You don't see the book. Nope, there's no book here. It's on my shelf.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
they I mean God has
yeah,
been like wrong cute
yeah. And
no
that's why we're doing the podcast too,
yes
because I
yes
was convicted of
mm.
convicted like I'm a felony, like I committed a felony. Why do Christians say that? I felt
It's
convicted.
it's actually in the Bible. It's
Yeah,
biblical.
I
It's
I knew it had to
biblical.
be because I know
Yeah.
I'm so biblical, so much into the Bible. I know so much about it.
So funny.
No, like um, I just lost my train of thought. I
Um
swear I'm not telling a lie.
Let me see.
I think we're getting tired.
Oh.
Um,
Um. Oh. Let me think. We were talking about soft launching being. Oh, you were so convicted, and that's why we were doing this podcast. That's the
oh
last thing you
yeah,
said.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so we're doing the podcast because I was like, well, I'm just gonna start writing vlogs, like writing blogs, like
Mm-hmm.
do some short YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, nah, you're gonna say it out loud, like you're gonna talk, you're gonna do more talking. You're not talking enough. I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel like I talk too much. Like
See,
I'm not the
the
first one we
first
did.
one
I
we
was like,
did.
you talk too much.
No, no. I mean, it's edifying. It's helpful. And when you think of like Jonathan, he told me, he's like, Stephanie, do you understand being kind is warfare? It's like not war. He's saying warfare in the sense of you're pushing against darkness. And so this podcast, when you think about all the noise that you were hearing from
Oh,
social media,
big time.
it's like we're a light. We're pushing against darkness. So honestly, we probably couldn't talk. We could like us talking is putting light. Us talking is pushing out darkness. And so
Yeah,
it's
that makes
interesting.
sense.
You know what I'm saying? So we need more light. We need
Right.
more
We're
godly.
expressing
Yes,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
We need more of that. And as much of as God will give us to speak, it's like we need to because there's
Mhm.
so many other voices. So I just wanted to mention that because when you said that, I was like, oh, this
Yeah,
is
well, it's weird because I felt like I've had a muzzle on my face for so long.
yes,
Like, shut up. It's
yes.
always like, shut up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
nobody cares, nobody wants to hear you,
Wow,
nobody
such a
wants to
lie.
see you. Yeah, it's
Such
like
a
it's a
lie.
lie. So this podcast was the break out of that.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, for
break
sure.
through for sure.
I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited. That was episode. I have no idea. I forgot.
12.
12. 12. We'll have Lucky 13 soon.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks for checking it out. If you have any questions or any comments or anything, please leave it on the you leave it on the bottom of the YouTube if you're on YouTube.
Yes.
If you're on Spotify, I have no idea how you would even comment, but I have no idea. We'll figure it out.
Yes.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.